So we're going to talk about Solana, price predictions, and what it is. Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. If you're new, subscribe, hit the bell button, and leave a like, most importantly. Now, we'll talk about it in terms of basic overview, what my opinions are, where it could go, as a bit of speculation, and potential multiples that it could lead to. So we're not going too far-fetched. I don't want to go, oh, it's going to $1,000 and it be too far-fetched, for example here. Random number off my head. If you've not yet done so, make sure you do join the Patreon group. I've just put some posts in there. There's only a few in there because it only just started on Friday evening. But if you want more information from myself, check out the link. Loads of videos will be coming. So any requests that are done, and they don't go on YouTube, they'll go on there. So you can get a good gist of stuff. So you get a lot of extra content plus tutorials and information that is not going to be put on YouTube first, for example. Right. Decentralized applications, scalability, and a user-friendly architecture for developers and for users. That's basically the bread and butter of it, right? It's quick, as you can see by the statistics there on the bottom. It's freaking cheap, which we all have an absolute ball-ache, painstakingly obvious problem with Ethereum, and obviously the validator nodes are increasing, which is increasing the network effect, which is most likely why the price has increased significantly over the last few months. Now, do I hold it? No. Am I annoyed that I don't hold it? Yes and no, right? And I'll explain that in a minute. But for me, if we're talking about branding and we're talking about overall, let's get the full message out in one button click. And I've already said this about Cardano doing it well, and Solana's another one that does it well too. Polkadot does it well too, and other projects don't do it well at all. So, you know, if you're that project that have a pretty naffy website, Silica, you should really listen. And for me, it really helps. Now, moving down, as you can see here, fastest growing ecosystem, and that's definitely happening right now. It is going absolute hell for leather. And if I just press click the Explorer to see it all, it's freaking huge, right? This is an absolute monster. And it's also very, very exciting to see how things are growing very, very quickly. Now, most people know this, but I'm very much bullish on Polkadot. It's not a competitor though, right? A lot of people think, oh, it's a competitor. No, this is a decentralized application platform where people can build on it. Polkadot is an enabler. It's a multi-chain. So when we're talking about parachains and substrates, this could become a substrate very, very easily because it's got its own mainnet. So if you're thinking long-term longevity, well, Solana could use the interoperability functionality of the substrate on Polkadot, which will grow both ecosystems. Make sense? Hope it does, because people get confused in the comments and go, well, why do you hold Polkadot instead of this? Well, you know, it can get the best of both worlds, technically. I prefer Polkadot overall. But let's be honest here. Would you rather, this is a question, would you rather buy Solana or would you rather buy Ethereum right now? For me, there's still a 12x gain in buying Solana versus obviously where Ethereum could go. Yes, I do believe Ethereum could go much higher. However, I do feel that some of the architecture that is now getting built in the blockchain space, especially for decentralized applications, you've seen it with Avalanche recently, big price pop, Solana as well, obviously. People are not, in my opinion anyways, this is my opinion, I feel people find Ethereum off-putting due to the fees. It is, if you are minting tokens, and I do also feel that the NFT market is giving Ethereum a big, huge price advantage at the moment, even though there has been upgrades and stuff, and there's been some good stuff, but also the fees haven't been curbed yet. Solana's got the solution, and that's the interesting point. Now, as I say, I don't hold it, but at the same time, though, if it does drop to a certain price, I could be looking at it. But at the same time, though, it depends on you as an individual. In terms of other metrics and stats, as you can see here, 29.5 billion market cap, severe, huge volume. And it's very, very similar in terms of, you know, ilk of the world of Ethereum in terms of what it is building. But as I say, a much better version for, you know, the proof of history element to it alongside the underlying proof of stake, but also the fees, the structure of fees is totally different. And I honestly do believe that that will put people off. So if you look at the long-term element of this, this has already got 400 plus development elements on it. So in terms of its ecosystem, it's huge. But as I say, you can see here layer 2 sharding capability, which is always good. Low cost forever, fast forever. This is why I back the likes of Zilliqa. This is why I back the likes of Polkadot and other blockchains that have this capability within them, right? It's huge. Whereas, in my opinion, Ethereum is just one glove, and that one glove does get old and smelly and can get quite costly over time, whereas this is a little bit different. So that's a brief breakdown of it. Again, do your own research. I've only went through a partial part of this in terms of the main standpoints of it, but as I say, you can go through all of this, the ecosystem, the validators, the network, the explorers, if you so wish to, the stake distribution, all this sort of information you can go through in your own time, because it's a behemoth, it's a beast, and already the transactions per second are already lightning versus other networks at the moment. Anyways, this is what I want to talk about. Where we're going to go next, boys and girls. Right, we've already breached $100, which is already a huge feat. But I want to look at a few things. I want to look at a very, very simple element of a Fibonacci using the log scale from this dipping point to where we're currently going. And this is where I think we could be going. Sounds rather obvious, but I think $117 is an obvious short-term target. In current situations, it could go much higher than that because we are currently in a blue sky breakout where it's all-time highs, there's no ceiling. Ceilings are designed to stop things. We currently don't have one. So eventually it will slow down at some point, but when is the question. Now, another situation I could look at as well, if I just zoom out on this, and let's look at the bigger scale here. We're going to go from this bottom to this top. Now, if we have just pulled back, and let's pull back to roughly the 0.23%, give or take, Fibonacci, where could we be going next? Well, in actual fact, we could be looking at roughly $700, which sounds absolutely mental, but realistically, is that plausible? Well, yes, in my opinion, yes, it is. Because at the same time, though, you've got to think, if I put this Fibonacci level on here, actually, bear with me. Because once I do this, you'll probably start going, oh, okay, that's 23.6, there you go. So it's hit that level on the nose, boom. 1, 2, 3 taps, as you can see there, right? If that is the level where we're going to, so $173, but if we're looking at the price point of $709, 7x from here, give or take, you'd be pretty happy with that, wouldn't you? So as I say, we're going to look at the network effect of this, the growth, the model, the fee structure, all this kind of good stuff. We could be looking at a very, very long-term target, not next week, by the way, a long-term kind of standpoint of some degree of maths and speculation, but is it what we want to know is, and what we need to think about, is it realistic? Well, if we go to the coin's perspective here and we start looking at price points, well, it still would be lower than Ethereum. Okay, it would be the third biggest, but if we're looking overall at kind of like, when we start looking at this situation here, if you look at the desired slider and we start looking at roughly certain situations and we go to the worth point, what is it? Oh, 700. So we'll say 727. That'll be roughly $211 billion market cap. Do you think that's fair value? Well, potentially it could be. You got to think long term though. Again, bull and bear markets will take place. All kinds of situations could happen. But when we start looking at the ecosystem of Solana, we could well be looking at a $700 level potentially, if that is to go to that extension. It's a very big what if. But if you are positioned early in this, and I say early as in, the fact that this was $22 and I was looking at buying this was ridiculous at some point. And if I go back through all analysis, I was very, very close to hitting the level that I would be desirable to buy it. It didn't go that low though, which, yeah, in hindsight, I know there's going to be someone going, oh, you should have just bought. But realistically, sometimes you just don't know what's going to happen. And that's the element of it. And that's where it gets quite scary. And I'm pretty sure I did look at, I think it was a $19 level of this at some point in that situation, but we'll see. Anyways, if you go off log scale, by the way, that's what it kind of looks like. So it doesn't really look the same at all, but it did hit the 618. But on log scale, you get a different dynamic. Anyways, that's today's video done. I personally believe $700 is a potential price point. If we're looking at the BTC side, just briefly, it's parabolic. And again, if you were positioned early in this and you've not taken a little bit of sliver off the table, even that 5-10%, you should do it. Go and enjoy life, because we're only here once and all. Anyways, enjoy. Feel free to jump in Patreon as well.